In this video, I'm going to talk about how to move off in a manual car on a hill. So I'm going to talk about uphills, inclines, or sometimes known as hill starts. I'm going to talk about how it contrasts also when moving off on downhills or declines. And there's also going to be different shots of the pedals, of the gears, of the tachometer and speedometer dials as well for both the up and downhill starts, with lots of tips and helpful advice along the way. So stay tuned. Okay, for this example, I'm going to talk you through how to move off from a parked position like this on quite a steep uphill incline. Okay, so moving off on the incline, I'm going to go clutch in and gear 1 first of all. I'm going to check my left to right blind spot to make sure it's clear. It looks okay. I'm going to set my gas to somewhere between 1500 and 1750 RPM. I'm going to lift my clutch to the biting point, which is there. Now I know it because my revs have slightly lowered. Take my handbrake off, car moves forward, check my right blind spot, away I go. I'm going to get my revs nice and high, about 2,500 revs, off my gas, into 2, and there we go. Setting the gas to find the right amount of RPM when moving off is so important, because after all, cars are heavy objects, sometimes between 1 to 2 tons of metal, but occasionally more depending on the car. Now, how much revs you give depends on if you are on a flat or an incline. You generally want 1250 to 1500 on a flat, but more like 1500 to 1750 100 revs, maybe more on an uphill. This is what 1250 to 1500 RPM looks like on the tachometer. And this is what 1500 to 1750 RPM looks like also. Here's the run through of moving off uphill with different camera shots. First, press the clutch fully down. Then select gear 1. Then set the gas to between 1500 and 1750 RPM and lift the clutch to the biting point. Notice as you set the gas to between 1500 and 1750 RPM, the revs drop as you find the biting point. Handbrake off, as now the pedals are set, the car will not roll backwards. Hold the gas and biting point for a total of 3 seconds, increase that gas pedal, off the gas, clutch down, change one to gear 2, off the clutch, back on the gas. Accelerate to around 2,500 RPM before you change gear to help prevent losing too much speed. For this example, I'm going to talk you through how to drive off on a fairly steep downhill, which is a decline, and how it contrasts to how you move off on an uphill, which is an incline. Okay, so for downhills, as you can see up ahead of me now, what you must do is handbrake off first before you start setting the gas and the biting point. Now, on another factor, another little layer to moving off downhill, what you can do is actually move off sometimes in a higher gear, because what the downhill obviously will give you is it will give you natural momentum in the direction that you want to go. Gravity is going to force the car down the hill, which is the direction you are traveling. So a lot of times you can move off in gear 2 as opposed to ordinarily in most cars you drive off actually in gear 1. Okay, so this is the run through, right? So first thing I'm going to do, I'm actually going to go clutch in and I'm going to go to gear 2, not gear 1. Okay, check from my left to my right blind spot to make sure it's clear. I'm going to handbrake off first, but leave my clutch down. I'm just over my accelerator, okay? But I'm not going to add any gas initially. Handbrake's off, check my right blind spot. Clutch is still down. Now I'm lifting my clutch, and now I'm adding my gas. First, press the clutch fully down. Then select gear 2. Handbrake off now as the car will start rolling forwards in the direction you are travelling. Leaving the clutch down, allow the car's speed to get up above 10 miles an hour, then slowly lift the clutch all the way up, then add the gas. So this is what I did when I moved off downhill. I took my handbrake off first. You notice my speed starts to go up, but I've not lifted my clutch. Start to lift my clutch now around about 10 miles an hour. And then start to add my gas, and you notice my revs and speed go up at the same time. So to sum up, on uphills you must set your gas and biting point first before taking the handbrake off. On a downhill you can handbrake off first, then set the gas and the biting point.